Hi, it's James from the Canadian Urban Garden, and today we're going to make some soil for raised beds and for container gardens. This is a huge grow bag, 30 gallons, and I got to make some soil because I'm going to plant some potatoes in it. The soil mix that most people use for raised beds and even for big grow bags like that, because that's essentially just a raised bed in a bag. They're all riffs off of Mel Bartholomew's square foot gardening. So what you do there is you take 1 part compost, 1 part peat moss or coconut coir, and 1 part perlite, and you mix them together, and that's what we're going to do today. So for the compost, we have multiple different sources. One in here, that's my semi-composted compost from my own garden. There's some that are still leaves that are in the middle of composting, and then it's almost ready, but we're just going to use it like that. Then we have earthworm castings. This is my go-to. It's the best organic compost you can get. We have 2 kinds of shrimp compost. This bag I picked up at a box store, and this one that I picked up at Urban Seedling, and so it's a byproduct of the shrimp industry, so it's probably shrimp shells and that sort of thing mixed in with peat moss. And the last source that we have is composted sheep manure that has peat moss in it too. Next, we have a bag of peat moss. So peat is mined, so it's like the bogs that are sort of scraped off, and it's actually not a renewable resource. I got this bag gifted to me, so I'm going to use it. What's been happening more and more is people are using coconut coir, and that's a byproduct from the coconut farming industry, which I'm sure it's not that sustainable either, but it seems to be the choice of more eco-friendly gardeners these days. Why do we put peat moss in the soil? It's what this stuff does is it retains moisture as something you need to do when you grow in raised beds or containers, because the moisture can go out, especially in a grow bag, because the moisture can go out the bottom and out the sides. Finally, there's perlite. This is that white stuff that you see inside the soil. It looks like little bits of styrofoam. Actually, and until I started gardening regularly, I was convinced that it was little bits of styrofoam, and I wasn't sure what it was for. So why do we put perlite in the soil? It's to keep the soil aerated. It's like a porous volcanic material, a mineral of kinds that keeps air in the soil, because your roots in the soil, they need air to survive as well as water, so they don't drown, and that's what perlite does. So we're going to mix it up in the wheelbarrow and then put it into the grow bag. So how do you make it? Well, like I said, it's going to be 1 part compost, 1 part peat moss, and 1 part perlite. So you can just, depending on the size of the job you're doing, you can use like a little scoop or up to a big shovel or something like that, but you just take a shovel of compost, right? Even though mine's not quite ready yet, it'll get ready in the soil, so I'm just going to take a couple shovelfuls of that, right? Some sheep manure, some shrimp compost, some of the other shrimp compost, and some earthworm castings. So then, that's 5 different sources, 2 shovels each. So I'm going to take 10 shovels full of perlite. Be careful of the dust. Make sure you do it outside. And finally, you're going to take 1 part peat moss. I'm gonna lay off the peat moss just a little bit because some of the compost already has peat moss in it. So I'll use 8 shovels instead. Then I'm going to hydrate it. And I'm going to mix it up. It can be difficult to hydrate sometimes, as peat moss takes its time to soak up the water. You just mix it up. You can add some more water to it if you need to, like I do. And there you go, you're ready to plant in there. Thank you so much for watching, and in the next video we'll show some more spring planting. Thank you.